it's Shawnee. Welcome back. So I just want to play around with makeup, and I'm going to use the Samarian Sunset palette from Adept Cosmetics. I just haven't used it in a while, and so I want to. And while I'm doing that, I'm probably going to talk about some news, because I can always find a way to drop things and some news stories. There are some that are like, ooh, heartbreaking. I think we're gonna kind of avoid some of those. I think there are 4 stories I'm thinking of. 3 are hilarious, and 1 is like, ooh. So I'll put that in there somewhere. All right, so first story. Let's talk about Mateus. Mateus is from Brazil. I don't know why this light just went off. There we go. Oh, because I touched the button. Mateus is from Brazil. He's 21 years old, and he had a very interesting experience. Of course, I'm going to start with Danessa. I'm actually just going to go into tourmaline, which is this black here, and use it as a base. So, Mateus is 21. And on December 31st, he decided that he was going to go out to, celebrate and bring in the new year. Now, he's out partying, having a good time, in the crowd, getting it on. And all of a sudden, he feels like something hit his head, like really hard. And he's like, dude, WTF? He's like, somebody threw a stone at me. Somebody threw a rock and bopped me in the head. And so he realizes that he's bleeding. Like, because he puts his hand to his head and he's like, dude, I'm injured, right? But also there's a doctor in the crowd, and like, how convenient. And the doctor helps him like stop the bleeding. So Mateus is like, boom, I'm good to go. Bleeding has stopped. I'm going to carry on and have a good old time. It's going to be a funny story that I was out and got bopped in the head with a stone. So after the party, it was like further away from his house. So Mateus drives 186 miles. He drives home. So he went a little bit out of the way to go to this party. It must have been a good party. You getting stones thrown at you and stuff. So he goes home. I guess this is on the 1st-ish. And the 2nd, I think everything's cool. The 3rd, everything's cool. And on the 4th, he goes to work. And he comes home and he's like so tired, so he wants to take a nap. And he takes a nap and he gets up and like his left arm is feeling real weird. Like he's having trouble holding things. It's like his left arm is super weak. So he's like, I'm just going to take a jaunt down to the emergency room. So he gets there and, the doctors are like, what's up? What's going on? And he's like, well, I don't know. I don't feel so great. But the only thing that's happened that I can think of is that I got bopped in the head with a stone when I was partying, bringing in the new year. And they're like, okay, well, let's get you checked out. And they decide to do a CAT scan. And they get the little printout, I think it's a printout, of the CAT scan. Maybe they just see it on the computer, what else? And they're like, homeboy, you have a bullet in your head. Got a bullet on one little part of your brain. It's not an important part. Not an important part of the brain. But, like, this isn't good. We kind of need to take it out. So Mateus is like, excuse? I thought it was just a stone that hit me in the head. Like, I've been going to work and all that jazz. And you're telling me that I've had a bullet in my head for 4 days? And he sure did. He sure enough did. So apparently that was not a stone that bopped him on the head. It was a bullet. A full-on bullet lodged in his head. What I don't understand, well, several things, but how did this doctor not know? Like, wouldn't the doctor have like looked at it just a little bit? Or was he just like, let me just take this tissue and you put it right there? Like, I don't understand. Did he not investigate a little bit? I mean, I guess he's not really on the clock, but, you know, like, if you're going to present yourself as a doctor, maybe you should perform as a doctor. You know what I'm saying? What color do I want to use? The tough thing about this palette is the mattes. Adept is not known for their mattes. But let's try Obsidian, Order, and Praxis. I'm going to try those two. So, they do the surgery, and they caution him and his mom because it's a pretty sensitive surgery. It's like a high risk one. I mean, but it's equally as high risk to leave the bullet up in his head. So surgery goes well, and his mom is like, he's got a new lease on life. And now Mateus can tell everyone that he got shot in the head on New Year's Eve, and he lived to tell it. He lived 4 whole days with a bullet in his head. Like, how? Maybe it depends on like the caliber of bullet. I mean, even if you thought you got bopped in the head with a stone, I feel like I would just like go check myself out a little bit, just like make sure, you know, especially if I'm bleeding from the head. I think that's kind of important, but then I'm like, you know what? Mateus is 21, and that makes it make more sense. A 21-year-old who's partying on New Year's Eve is probably like, it's just a little bit of blood. I have a little headache, but all's well. I just thought that was interesting. But I know that there are tons of stories about people getting stuff stuck in their head, either not knowing or like you can't take it out. Like Phineas Gage long ago when he got like a railroad like spike or something stuck like in his head. I mean, so people do be walking around with all kinds of stuff sticking in and out of them. But at least Mateus lived to tell the story. Now, the next story is one where I'm actually surprised that this man is okay with having it out there, all right? So, this is a guy in Turkey, Ilter. And Ilter decides, he's a banker, but he is suing a doctor for $16,500 because he didn't like the result of a surgery the doctor performed. It was like a botched surgery, according to Ilter. Okay, I'm going to go on top of it with Praxis. So, what surgery do you think Ilter's getting? I'm going to let you, don't look it up. Go ahead and take a guess. And again, he's not satisfied with it. Like, he's like, this was botched. I'm not okay with it. This is not great. So Ilter, you know, he's a banker. He doesn't have much to do. He's already doing well for himself. Like, he can afford to just go and do nips and tucks and all that such. So Ilter goes to this doctor and he's like, hey doc, I would like to enlarge my peen. Lengthways and widthways. I would like length and girth. I want stuff added. I want like an inch added. So the doctor's like, bet, I'm gonna do better. We could do 1.1 inch. So Ilter is like, cool, let's go ahead with the surgery. So they do a surgery and Ilter goes home and he's like bleeding and he's in like super duper pain. I mean, I assume that is not a fairly easy surgery to recover from. Like, can he use it while it's healing? I don't know. So Ilter goes back to the doctor and he's like, listen, doc, there's bleeding. I'm in a lot of pain. What's happening? And so the doctor examines him and he's like, oopsies, something's not right. So let's do another surgery, okay? All right, I think I'm going to go into Delta Quadrant. Am I? Yeah, orangey kind of seems like it'll work. So the doctor does a second surgery, and Ilter goes home, and he feels even worse than the first time. He feels even worse, okay? He's got swelling. He can hardly walk. And then at some point, the swelling goes down, and now his peen is scarred. Because you was doing all them surgeries and you didn't put no bio oil or no glycolic acid on the skin of your peen. And so, yeah, you're going to have scars. And I imagine this is a major surgery. I don't think this is outpatient. It's a major surgery. I'm guessing they just like sliced it open and put a penile implant in there. Wait, but it's length and girth. I don't know exactly how this works. I've never tried to get one because I don't have the appropriate appendage. Anyway, so Ilter is like, no, this is terrible. This is not the result that I wanted. Like, my peen doesn't look pretty anymore, although a lot of them aren't pretty in the first place. And so then I guess Ilter is like, but you know what? Let me go ahead and measure, because I'm pretty sure I got like 1.1 inches length and girth. Child, Ilter says not only did he not get that extra inch, not only did he not get right back to where he was in the first place, Ilter says he lost an inch. Listen, what's the lesson here? Like, be grateful for what you have. Okay, so Ilter is like, I have been through 2 surgeries. I've been in so much pain. I have a scarred peen. Not only that, but you made it 1 inch shorter. Now the doctor is like defending himself in court. The doctor is like, I ain't do nothing wrong. He was like, because of the structure of the organ, the appendage, like, it just wasn't gonna work. I guess he didn't know until he went up in there. I don't know. I don't understand why he would do the surgery then. And the doctor's like, mind you, I returned him back to the length and size that he came in with. So the doctor's like, it didn't shrink, boo-boo. That was the original size, right? And you was trying to supersize it, and you came in with a medium. So at first I was like, well, isn't that like doctor-patient privilege? Like, can he be? Because I thought he was talking to the newspaper or whatever, but it was in court. Now, what I'm aware of is that, yes, there's doctor-patient privilege, but if there is some sort of legal action taken against you, like for malpractice or anything like that, you can bunk confidentiality and you can defend yourself. So then, people's info might get out there. Now, do I want to use another shade? This one, that is Positronic Net. It's the brush. Oh. So, the doctor's like, I ain't do nothing wrong, and this is just like an unlawful attempt to like siphon money from me. And Ilter is like, I just want $16,500. And you know why I think maybe allegedly Ilter came in with a shorter member than he claims. $16,500? That don't seem like enough for a scarred peen. I would think it would be like minimum 100,000. Like, so that's why I'm like, Ilter, you don't even want 20,000? You want how you come up with 16,500? Because it's not even a clean 16. It's not even like a 17. It's 16,500. That's why I'm like, Ilter, like, I don't know if you're telling the truth, bud. That number doesn't seem commiserate with the pain and suffering I assume that you went through. There was definitely pain and there was definitely suffering. And then you claim that you came out shorter than you went in. So to me, I'm like, why do you want just that amount? You don't want more? I mean, you went in wanting more. So the trial is still going on. Ilter's name is all out there, and so is the doctor. But the doctor is the definition of unbothered. So here's the thing, right? Because the doctor has to defend himself. So I'm wondering, did he measure the appendage before the surgery? He had to have, right? Because if he measured with a ruler or a tape measurer, he would have that jotted down, no matter what Ilter is over there saying. So he could, allegedly, I hope, he could come with that. Be like, listen, I measured X. We tried to get him to Y, and that didn't work. And now he's back at X. Ilter's like, I came in at X. I wanted to get to Y, but he done took me back to W. So, I'm sorry. That man is probably, if it's true, I don't know if it's true. I wasn't there. I didn't have a ruler nor any sort of tape measure. I'm going with this green. I don't know. Let's switch it up a little bit. Tanagra. So, the trial is still going on. We don't know just yet what the outcome is going to be. Is this a bench trial or is it a trial? Like, is it a jury trial? I'm not sure. I'm also pretty sure I don't like this, whatever it is that I just did. So let's take that off. So I don't know. Ilter's just like chilling in his home. I don't know why he wanted to enlarge his stuffs. And I don't know why he decided specifically like a centimeter. And the doctor was like, I'm going to give you a centimeter 0.1. I mean, an inch 0.1. I don't know why he wanted just an inch. I don't know. I don't know who he's using it with, if it was just for his own pleasure. But yeah, I guess we'll find out what happens, girl. Don't look good. Now, before we get to the most ridiculous story, there's one more. And this one's a serious one. So, yeah, I like that much better. So, there's this guy, Travis McBride. This story happened very recently. Now, Travis McBride is in Florida, because when do we not have a Florida story? And he is a therapist. Now, first, when I read this, I was like, I'm going to look it up because everybody, anybody, and all bodies can call themselves a therapist. Because there's not much, what's the word I'm looking for? Not red tape. But basically, anybody can call themselves a therapist. I know for me personally, even when I graduated with my PhD and I was doctor, I could not call myself a psychologist until I passed the licensure test in Maryland. So I had to basically call myself a counselor until I got licensed. So even on my cards, it said counselor. But child, when I got a license, I was like, throw those bad boys away and put licensed psychologist on there. But I don't know the rules of Florida in terms of what and when you can call yourself something. But I wanted to see, is he a for real therapist, or is he just like calling himself one? But honey, he got a master's degree from University of Central Florida, and he is an LMHC, licensed mental health counselor. So he's for real. He's legit. So I think he graduated in like 2007. And then in 2009, he opened his own little practice. Or I don't know why I said that, his practice, right? And so on his now deleted LinkedIn, I was searching, y'all. I was doing some investigative work. And on his website, it says that he works with a lot of different things. And one of the things he works with or helps with is anger management. Now, if you look at his website, I don't know how long it's going to be up, but if you look at his website and if you look at like the rate the doctor thing or whatever, he's got about 4 or 5 stars or somewhere in between. And on his website, he has a lot of testimonials, I assume, from previous clients. And they're like, what's his name? Travis, Mr. McBride is just like, he's such a blessing to my life. He was so helpful. You know, I don't know what I would have done without him. He's really helped me like manage my emotions, you know, all the good stuff, right? That's what you want people to say about you. But also I don't know that he would put less than 4 or 5 star reviews on there, you know. I wouldn't. So this is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Universal. So Mr. McBride loves his animals. He has a dog. On the website, you can see the dog in the room and everything. It can be helpful to have like a therapy dog because, you know, dogs usually help folk. So reportedly, an unhoused man, so someone who doesn't have a home, Travis, Mr. McBride says that Clint, this is the unhoused man, was feeding Travis's dog glass. I don't know how he came about this. I don't know why he thought this thing. I didn't ask him. I don't know. But he thought that Clint was messing with his dog. Okay? Okay. So Travis goes to a friend or a neighbor's house, a woman, and he's like, I'm so pissed. This man is messing with me and my dog. I'ma kill him. Now, she didn't really take it seriously because everybody's like, ooh, I'm gonna kill him. You get on my nerves, right? And typically you don't think that someone's is being serious, right? Like, so I think most of us don't go ahead and call the police. I don't know. I feel like if I had, like, my friends, I would be like, girl, stop playing. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, 911, my friend about to do something stupid, you know? So, Travis goes to find Mr. Clint. And he finds Clint, and he fires 8 or 9 shots from his gun. He kills Mr. Clint. Not only that, this is in broad daylight. It's not the peak of the night where it's super dark. This is in, everybody can see what's happening. And so, I don't know how, but everybody in the community seems to know each other or something. So an anonymous person calls and it's like, Travis McBride just shot Clint. Like, full names, okay? And then the caller is like, and then Travis put Mr. Clint in his car, in the trunk of Travis's car, and then came back with some cleaning supplies and was trying to clean off the road. Allegedly. So, and then as he was cleaning, he was also making sure to pick up all the shell casings. So, they go find Travis because it doesn't look really like he was trying to hide. Unfortunately, by the time they got to Clint, he was deceased. He was in the trunk and he was deceased. And now, Travis is in jail and being charged with 1st-degree murder, and it may come with, it's a possible death penalty sentence. here's the thing that, like, okay, so I feel like there are certain professions where there's an expectation of like appropriate behavior. I do feel like one of those professions is therapist. Like, you kind of expect your therapist to have it at least semi together, or at least be able to pretend that they do. Do you know what I mean? So people are like, Travis is over here talking about he is a therapist for anger management, and he just literally did not manage his anger. Okay? And what we also find out is Travis has a record, sweets. Travis has a record. He's 46 years old. Travis has a record. And it's all like assault and things like that. Like not just like a simple jaywalking ticket, right? He has felonies. And one of the assaults was on his ex. I don't know if it was... Oh, ow. What just happened? I don't know if it was ex-wife or ex-girlfriend, but someone he was previously in a relationship with, and like pressed charges against him because apparently he started strangling her when she, like, I guess took one of his dogs just like by the collar to pull him outside or something. Travis went berserk. Apparently you cannot mess with Mr. McBride's animals, especially his dogs. So he goes ahead and he starts choking out this lady. So I think he had like a suspended sentence. I need to go back and read, but from what I know, when you're filling out your license, you know, your renewal application, or even your first license application, you have to put on there if you have any like convictions. So I'm like, did he not put that on there? Was it not a conviction? Like, I don't understand, because especially with the nature of the alleged crime, I'm really surprised that he went ahead and was able to get licensed or relicensed. Because it says that he's licensed. I don't know. You don't necessarily have to be licensed to be a therapist or whatevs. But licensure, in my opinion, like it does signify that you've had a certain amount of training, certain hours that you've met, and you have passed a licensing exam, even though usually those don't have anything to do with actual practice. Someone's been supervising your work for a certain amount of time. I prefer to go to a licensed person, you know? And I'm licensed in Maryland, DC, Virginia. And then there's this thing called PsyPact, and that allows psychologists to practice telehealth across various states. There's a list. Now, what I do know is that every state is kind of different, okay? Like, you do have to do continuing education, which means that you are just continuing your education and staying up on top of things. And what I typically do is I try to meet the requirements for whichever one is the strictest. I think out of Maryland, DC, and Virginia, Maryland's the strictest. So I'm like, as long as I cover Maryland, like I should be meeting the requirements of the other two. And I mean, you have to take ethics courses, and you have to take like multicultural stuff, and now there's a new one where you have to do implicit bias training, just like a lot of different things, and you have to get a certain number of credits, okay? It's just like college, essentially. Now, I don't know what the rules and laws are that govern therapists, counselors, whatevs in Florida. So I don't know how that's all working, but it seems like this was just really not a good idea. And what I don't really, and I don't understand any of it, but what gets me is that this was in broad daylight. This was in broad daylight. And so after he did this, remember the friend he went and told that don't say nothing? Apparently he went back to her house and was like, you better not say anything or else I'm gonna kill you. So she didn't want to say nothing. Of course not, because he done went, he proved that he was going to do what he was going to say, or what he said, by messing with Mr. Clint. So now, I'm guessing he's not going to be practicing anymore, because he's going to be in prison, it seems like. If not, executed. And I'm just like, you didn't think this through, sir. And shame on you, because you're not just... There's an expectation of you as a mental health practitioner. You can't just be out here doing craziness. Not to say that mental health folks were not human and we don't make mistakes and we're just like perfect or whatever. But I just feel like this is a little beyond the pale. Like, this is just like, this was arguably not okay. So part of me was a little surprised. I was like, oh man, a therapist. When you identify with a certain group and somebody from the group does something, you're like, why do they have to be tall? I'm tall too. You know what I mean? So I'm like, darn, he's a therapist. Actually, it says he's a licensed mental health counselor, but whatever. He's a therapist. He's making us all look bad. But what I really don't get is he did this in broad daylight. And people already knew that Clint and Mr. Travis, didn't have the best interactions. So I don't know if he was just like, it's cool. I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't know if he was thinking that. I can't even imagine. Could you imagine if you were one of his patients? So now I need to go to therapy to talk about my old therapist. Do you know what I mean? Which actually does happen quite a bit. But I couldn't even imagine. And here's the thing. You are helping me with anger management and you are not managing your anger. That is just... And it seems like he did it all cool and collected. I don't know. He should not have done that to that man. Because this was intentional. It was premeditated. Yeah. Travis McBride. Go ahead and look it up. In Florida. The therapist who done lost his actual mind. But the last story will lift your spirits. It will make you be thankful that you're not these people. So there is this 21-year-old in New York. And he's a musician. You know what that means. He's probably trying to get, his rap career off the ground. So he's a musician and he convinced a few people to have this joint party. Now, what kind of party, Shawnee? I'm going to tell you the kind of party while I go on with this. No, this is too expensive to just be using. I'll go on with the Oma Beauty powder. So... the party that he's like, we should just do a joint party. Because sometimes it saves a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. You can celebrate with someone you really enjoy. But he is thinking that the people he interacts with, that they should have a joint baby shower. You might be thinking, okay, that's kind of weird, but no big deal. Maybe some friends want to just have their baby shower together. They're going to have kids around the same time. And you're partially correct. These women are going to have kids around the same time. They're going to have his kid. Zeddy Will, that's the name. They're going to have his kid at the same time, or around the same time. Now, maybe you're thinking I'm talking about 2 women. Not 2, not 3, not even 4. I'm talking about 5 women who he impregnated all around the same time. So they're all due around the same time. And they've all decided to, it already passed. It was It was like a week ago. They already had the baby shower. Yeah, and so they decided to just have a joint shower, all 5 of them. And there is a picture floating around on the interwebs where Zeddy is sitting down and he's got all 5 of the women around him, just like standing with they pregnancy stomachs. And then his like manager, I guess, comes out with a statement, and he's like, you know, things are different now. Like, relationships are not the way they used to be, like, you know, in previous generations, and we should all just be embracing this. And here's the thing. Nobody is commenting on any sort of relationship that may be polyamorous. It doesn't seem like it's polyamorous, because I don't know that any of the women knew about any of the other women, right? He might have been poly, but I don't know that his partners were. And so the first time you see any inkling of this is when one of the ladies, who's 29, she goes ahead and puts on the interwebs, like, when your baby daddy has another baby mama or something. And she's like, look at our family. And she's like, we love our baby daddy. Like, if I had a daughter or a niece or a friend or anybody that I had any sort of like connection to who was putting that on their social media, I don't know that I would ever speak to them again, because this is ridiculous. Now, the ladies are like, we're not going to let this like get between us, because, you know, the children are going to be siblings. And I don't even think it's about that. Like, yes, I believe you should have, you know, copacetic relationships for your children. What I don't like is that it's 5 of them, and he was having unprotected sex with all of them at the same time. Oh. And they're like, he's old enough and mature enough to take care of these 5 babies. No, he's not. You know how I know? Because he was having unprotected sex with 5 of y'all at the same time. And not as in an orgy. He was going from house to house. And they are over here putting all their business out on the street, talking about, we love our baby daddy. Like, I'm not sure that's how they said it, but that's how I imagine. What do you think of that? You know what it is? I find it irresponsible. Because how, tell me, is he going to be able to afford all these 5 kids? Like, first of all, they're all going to be the same age, all right? They're all going to be the same age. When I tell you everybody is pregnant, or they're around the same time, they're probably going to have to take a suite at the hospital for everybody to give birth. But how is he going to be able to participate in these kids' lives, financially especially? And then imagine growing up and finding out this story about your parents. I would be like, for real? That's what y'all decided to do? And who knows if there's more? I think that's just so irresponsible to be going around spreading your seed to all these people. Like, you don't know, you're 21, you don't know about protection. None of y'all do. None of y'all know. And now you sitting up here proud talking about, we love our baby daddy. Like, no, you... Does he love you back? Like, what an accomplishment. What an achievement, Zeddy Will. What an achievement. I don't know. There's a chance that I'm being judgmental. There's a significant chance that I'm doing that. But I just don't think this was none of this. It wasn't smart decision making. You know, I don't think it was. Like, I'm wondering, like, how they find out though. How you find out? Like, is everybody on a group chat? Like, was he just like, oh yeah, this is my other baby daddy. I mean, this is my other baby mama. And you're like, how many months are you? She's like, 4. I'm 4 also. Oh, there's another one? Oh, okay. So how many months are you? 4. Oh, what about you, girl? 4. Oh, there's another one. Girl, how many months are you? 4. I don't know. I don't think my behind would be up in that photo talking about I love my baby daddy. Like, no, I don't think I would be up in the picture like that. Like, don't tag me. Do not tag me. Don't put me. Leave me out of this, okay? Leave me out of it. Don't talk to me. Don't tell me nothing. Because I think I don't know why the grossest part to me is like you was out here raw dogging it with 5 people. Ew. That is so irresponsible. It's just so irresponsible. Like, this is not cute. This isn't a cute thing. Like, what's he gonna be like? Yeah, I got 5 kids. I love my kids. I don't know where I'm getting these voices from, but that's just how I imagine. It just seems so irresponsible, and everyone is seemingly at an age where they should know better. I mean, we can clearly say that Zeddy his brain has not fully developed. Like, not even just because of this incident, but the fact that he's 21. He ain't got to about 25 or 26 when the brain, like the frontal lobe, has developed. And, you know, the frontal lobe is like your decision-making lobe. So he's obviously not using that part. And you should see the picture. You should see the picture. He just sitting there like... And then the ladies are behind him and they're like... And it'd be different if he was like super fine, but he's not. So, y'all, I'm gonna tell you is beware of a musician named Zeddy. That's it, y'all. Those are the stories I have for you today. On today, I'm sure I'll have some more later in the week because there's a lot of foolishness going on. Like, daily. And I'm keeping it, you know, pretty not super heavy. There's some other stuff that's just kind of like, and I figure you can read or watch those on your own. But if you do want me to talk about the more serious stuff, let me know. Just some of these news stories help me just remember and understand the ridiculousness of people. Anyways, I hope that some of this was helpful, and I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. Let me know if you resonate with any of these stories, what you think of them, if you've tried what these other people have tried. Don't tell all your business. Anyway, I would love it if you liked the video, and I would love it even more if you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.